I certainly have the pleasure now to introduce the host of the next session, who is going to talk about how to partner with Ceridian and Dayforce. And Ceridian is an important player in the HCM space, as everybody knows. The leader of this session is Brad Wyland, who is the Vice President of the Software Partner Network for Ceridian. Brad has a long history of running partnership programs and alliances. He spent over 20 years managing software partnerships and at least 11 years in this HR technology space. So he also has a deep background in product strategy, sales, consulting, marketing, and ecosystems. So Dayforce and Ceridian are an important part of this HR world, and we're really delighted to that Brad has taken the opportunity to share with us today about some of his insights about what Ceridian is looking for in their partnership program, and specifically how to partner with Ceridian. So Brad, I'm going to turn it over to you, please.
Perfect. I appreciate that, Ezra. Thank you. And Ward, Larry, thank you for inviting us today. Great opportunity to really be here and join the group. Sounds like it's been a great morning so far. And I'm happy to have some of our core partners joining us as well, in Experian and Shiftboard and Dovetail. So appreciate them joining us today. Hopefully we'll take some time and we'll try to keep on schedule here and take as many questions as we can, keep it interactive, and make sure that we have enough time, not only during this session, but after, to follow up. And I appreciate everybody being here. It's hard to believe we started talking about a number of years people have been in this space or in this environment. It never felt, I feel like we've all been here for 100 years. We start to see each other at events, we see each other at different companies, we partner, we work together. Most importantly, we all work together to make customers' lives happy over and over again, at different times. So that's a great thing to see, and always great to be in an event where the audience, and the audience is someone you can kind of sit down and have a chat with. So hopefully we're going to do that today. Perfect. Thank you. Let's go ahead and kick into it. Next slide. Yeah, as Ezra was talking, and many of you know, really here at Ceridian, with our Dayforce platform, we have confidence in what we deliver on a day-to-day basis for all of our customers. Well over 5,500 now, after 2022 results came out this year, continue to grow, continue to expand, really being the global people platform. Right, and our focus is to be the leader in our employee experience through our entire customer network, to empower people, really simplify compliance, and really deliver through integrated workforce intelligence. That's what we deliver from our entire solution suite. And if you look where Dayforce is today, on the next slide, maybe not everybody is aware of what the platform really is, and how we've built this. Between Ceridian and Dayforce, and extending this footprint out to all the customers we have on a global basis. Strong in our pay and time, of course, from a global payroll perspective, but from our workforce management, our HR platform, our talent intelligence suite, really what we're doing is taking advantage of all that great data and intelligence and compliance, and delivering a unified experience and platform out to our customers. Core to that is our entire partner network that supports our customers, all the way from great influence partner network that's working out there, understanding what companies are trying to achieve and trying to deliver, really to improve their business, to our strong SI partner network that's helping deliver these solutions and extend and implement these solutions for enterprises today. And of course, our software partner ecosystem that really is focused on delivering extensibility on top of this platform. And that's really the core, right? It's not our goal to create disjoint systems or disjoint solutions for our customers. Customers want one unified experience, right? In this day and age, it's about delivering extensibility on their core investment, whether it's Dayforce or interoperability and composable ERP integrations across their entire network, which is super important. There's never at one point in time just one core platform in place. in a lot of these global organizations, they're managing data and information and processes across all of those. And that's important for us in the platform to understand that and deliver that, but also work with our software partners to extend that platform out to help them do work where they live every single day. So if you look at all these solutions that we have, that becomes the basis to our partner ecosystem and where we look to add and bring in value add partners to help extend these solutions to the individual employees that are customers. So if you go to the next slide, and we can skip forward a little bit. Yeah. Really, from our perspective, this is about delivering value to customers. That's where our partner program really starts. We want to make sure that from the perspective of what does your ecosystem bring to me as a customer of Ceridian, we want to make sure that everything revolves around extending that process, extending that interoperability to the customer environment to really help them deliver more value from the solution to their employees across the different processes. It's super important because it makes their day and their life easier. It creates the extensibility of the data and the intelligence that we have that helps them perform their daily tasks in easier amount of time, whether it's the frontline worker logging their schedule or their time or checking their pay or looking at exactly what they're getting paid through Dayforce Wallet at the time as they're earning hourly shifts or multiple day shifts and getting their payment, and doing that all under compliance by region, by country, by job code, whatever that might be, making all of this easier. And that's important as we extend this. From the partner perspective on the next slide, what we want to do is really create a way for the partner to take advantage of this and be a part of this journey, right? We want to be strategic. We want to engage. More importantly, at the end of the day, as we go into this partnership, we're really about activating and managing together. That's where it comes together for a strong partnership. What are we doing in our ecosystem, in our program to really create engagement for the partners, help them immediately get engaged and activated across our entire sales ecosystem, our entire partner ecosystem, because at the end of the day, when it comes to delivering an integration to Dayforce, which is core and really relevant to each of these partnerships, our sales organization needs to know how this works together so they can present value. They can get engaged with these partners to co-sell side by side, deliver value collectively to the client. Or as customers are asking us later as they add on solutions, we want to make sure there's easy connection to our partner ecosystem to quickly activate and engage with that client, to quickly talk to them about the value they bring to an added solution, and really versus someone who may not be in an ecosystem, because there are certain advantages to that. And our job is to make sure we work in conjunction with those partners to help them grow, build more business around our ecosystem, not just delivering value to our customers, but build their own brand, build their own ecosystem around Ceridian, because they've got to work with our SI partners. It's important for ecosystems to merge and blend and do things together because they're always implementing other solutions. As our ecosystem of partners starts to know the SIs, starts to get more ingrained with their day-to-day business, they can build an ecosystem to deliver even greater value to the customers. And of course, through that all, we want to manage and grow. And that's the intent here, is to create partnerships that grow and expand and deliver value for both of us. Next slide. So we try to do that in multiple ways. And our job over the past 9 to 12 months since we started sort of rebranding and growing our program in a different direction is not just about creating depth of these partnerships and strengths and extensibility with what we have in an ecosystem, but working hard to expand and create breadth of that ecosystem. So there's always going to be things that provide more strategic importance from a delivery of solution, customer need, market needs, industry needs, geographic needs, which are very important for us to evaluate. Where are we growing our solution footprint of Dayforce in those different vectors? Sometimes one partner serves all three vectors, right? It's an important functional footprint, it's an industry need, and it's critical to a geography. That's happening more and more. But we also want to provide choice, flexibility, and really options for our customers is to deliver a bigger ecosystem so that we have partnerships, we have partners within our ecosystem that are known, that create more of that attraction for the customers to feel confident that as they're jumping into our ecosystem, solutions they're used to working with or might want to work with are there tightly integrated with Dayforce and delivering value. So we constantly are looking for ways to create opportunities for partners to build some confidence, build some interaction, and build some customer adoption prior to even joining our partner program through our Dayforce Developer Network, which is out there. It's a great way for people to join, understand how Dayforce and its APIs are structured, do some test integrations, even create some integrations for joint customers to help them get moving with your solution on top of Dayforce. It's a great way to learn and expand. And then we have some growth to build on top of that as we bring partners into our program. Next slide. And we try to, as I said, it's about being strategic, engaging, activating, and really managing the partners. But that's really a super important opportunity here because we want to focus on things that matter. I've always been a believer, and I know that a lot of you on this call are firm believers, is when we partner, that means something to customers. It can't just be we're waving a hand in the air, holding our hands up high and saying we're partners. At the end of the day, they want to believe and have confidence that the two of us are aligned on what we're delivering from an extensible solution for them to work with our products together. It's important to know. So we want to focus on quality and use cases and integrations that really can help customers get that value from day one and understand why are we working together. To help our partners really support and build an identity around our sales organization, our customer base, our partner network. That's super important. And we have ways to do that and different tracks we can use with partners to encourage that because it's really important to do that for partners. You want partners to be engaged and invested, but at the same time, we have to provide roads for them to exceed and excel when we have partners that want to double down and do more. Yet it's important that any ecosystem is to kind of provide direction and guidance, but also support as they want to do more. And that includes sales growth, sales expansion, and even on the innovation side. We're never sitting still. There's always going to be, and I think if you talk to the partners that are on the call today, yes, we have an intent to how we're going to work together. Yes, there's immediate need. We have some customers just driving that and some strategy driving that interaction. But as we work more together with more customers, we learn more. We need to innovate more. There's additional use case and expansions that the integration should support, because at the end of the day, anybody can sit down and develop an integration, but what matters is what do our joint customers want out of that solution? That's the most important thing in the partnership. We have to deliver where they see the value in the two solutions, and that's the constant innovation, changing, evolving the use case, adding additional use cases as we get more customers adopting the solutions, because it makes their life easier from an implementation. At the end of the day, what their employees and what the rest of your organization is doing with our joint solutions and adding that value. So we never want to stop innovating. We never want to stop growing. And that's an important part of this. Next slide. Yeah, that's pretty much my piece. And I pretty much laid the foundation here. And the most important thing is to hear some of this from the partners today. And hopefully they're going to stay on script, what we rehearsed, what we approved and signed off on, not stray and say anything remotely different to that.
It's funny.
But hopefully,
Brad, would you mind? You meant, and that was a great presentation. That slide that you had with the different levels or different tiers of partner. Did I understand correctly that for somebody who might be interested in contemplating a partnership with Ceridian Dayforce, that first one on the left was at the platform level? Is that the starting place where you recommend people? Is that how you recommend that most potential partners start? Is that correct understanding?
Not always. Honestly, the reason we've expanded that heading into 2023 is to the point I made about breadth of an ecosystem, right? We're focused on depth of the ecosystem, aligning to the core extensibility of our platform, right? That's core, and that's the most important piece as we expand and build the network. And that focuses us and helps us prioritize on what partnerships are most important because that's where the attention is, that's where the momentum is, that's what's going to really set up for success. What we're trying to do as we slowly start to open the platform program is there's going to be opportunities where it might make sense and we might not be a priority now, but there might be an opportunity to say yes and welcome to the ecosystem more and provide some other solution providers an opportunity to demonstrate, invest their own time, invest their own team's effort to kind of grow and build and really help us flush out what is the opportunity for us to work together and partner. What are we seeing from joint customers? And let's make sure we hear from those joint customers. As we start usually in the other emerging or growth levels, that's well kind of documented. It's really part of the DNA of what customers have been asking for, and it's pretty obvious. But we're trying to be less exclusive and say, look, we can be more inclusive. We don't know where there might be an opportunity here, but this seems of value. We've seen this start to trend. Let's provide you an opportunity to kind of do that legwork and prove it out. Let you kind of get a little tighter with your integration and your alignment. So when we do land a couple of customers, at least we have a little better control and oversight of what value is going to that customer. And that's a great way for us to kind of open the doors and have some additional proof of concept partnerships and things going. So we think of it as that level, if that makes sense.
Thank you for clarifying that, Brad. I had the perfect. So it allows the potential partner to gain some familiarity, like you said, and not just wait for a better day when you have the resources. Great,
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
Terrific. Ezra, do you see any other questions in the chat? Mine's got covered up from other things, but if not, Brad, you wanted to pass it to one of your partners? And
yeah, might be easy to go in alphabetical order and not play any favorites.
Not that you'd have any, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be great. We have Dovetail on, we have Experian and Shiftboard on, many names that you guys recognize and know quite well, and really foundational members of our ecosystem and just great partners to be with. So I'll turn it over to Kane to kind of kick things off, and then we can move on from there.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, Kane, I guess you're next. Are you comfortable sharing your own screen? If you have some visuals, that would be helpful to me anyway, but if not, I can try to find your deck. Awesome.
I should have shared. I've shared my screen. Hopefully it's come through with the slide up.
Yeah, perfect.
It's always hard when you have a few monitors and you're not quite sure which one you've ended up sharing. I think MS Teams at least has a green box around, but
right.
Anyway, nice to meet everyone. I'm Kane Frisby. I work for Dovetail Software. I'm Dovetail's COO, and I've been with Dovetail for over 10 years now, and have worked with Brad. Actually, we were a former Workday partner, so knew Brad from back then, and now a Ceridian partner. So we provide what Gartner referred to as an integrated HR service delivery solution. And it's fundamentally a ticketing solution for HR and an employee portal for HR. So it's looking at at how your employees and workers can communicate with HR if they have questions about payroll, benefits, issues with someone else in the business, harassment claims, grievance, and so on. Anytime an employee has an issue like that and they contact HR, maybe they try and self-serve on our portal first, or maybe they go directly via email or phone call and speak to HR, and all of that is tracked. So that's basically what Dovetail provides. We've been around since '96. We initially started as a CRM company, and it was actually in around 2009, 2010, we moved into HR. And actually, it's interesting, it was off the back of the global crisis that happened with the financial markets. And HR was very much, as maybe many of you remember, HR was very much still local and in several offices, and they wanted to sort of transition similar to what IT had been doing with these sort of shared services. So most of our customers have some kind of HR shared service or a transformation in place We also offer employee relations case management as well, which they may not have a shared service. And then just moving on to next slide here, if I can get it across. Here's a slide that actually one of the I have to say, one of the really great benefits working with Ceridian. They really have a track for us to follow. So as soon as we became a partner, the people that I was working with there were really putting us through this process of, filling in certain slides. And that I have to say is different from our other partners. They've actually given us a lot of different templates to complete. And so when we went to the Ceridian show, the Insights show in Vegas, our marketing effort of getting handouts, things like that, well, we already had them because we'd filled these templates in for Brad's team. We had a case study there. We had a sort of handout sheet ready. So that was pretty that was a big benefit. Brad may not realize that, but for us as a vendor, that was a pretty neat benefit. Along with things like this is a sort of slide template that they've given us to fill in so that we can now talk to Ceridian salespeople in a very quick way and give them a sort of snapshot of who we are, what we offer, the industries we're in, and then we're able to fill in some links you can see down there and joint customers and so on. So just thinking of other things that we offer in the sense that currently our joint customers, you can see the branded names down there. And one thing I did sort of leave out is our sort of we operate on a global scale, but it's usually sort of 500 employees and above. So most organizations working with Dovetail, probably around the 2,000 to 3,000. We have some sort of 30,000. We have some healthcare above 100,000. But typically, once you hit around 500 to 1,000 plus employees, then you need a product or offering like we have. And then just breaking out a bit more, if anyone's not familiar with what we do, actually, probably the best thing to say, one of our top competitors is ServiceNow. So most of the times we're competing against that individual company, and they will offer obviously a whole IT suite of platform. Ours is more focused on the HR team. So the way we might compete is theirs is incredibly expensive and ours is more focused on HR, and also ours is designed around HR, not designed around the whole organization. We often talk to our prospects and customers about two experiences with Dovetail, like an employee experience and a HR experience. That's kind of our product offering. So here's what employees would gain from using the Dovetail products at your organization, and here's what your HR teams would gain. And there's Salesforce out there, Zendesk is out there, there's organizations like that. We're probably one of the only ones that are focused mainly on just HR. Never say never, we might branch out, but right now it's still HR. And then I've just mentioned this last slide. There's a Sapient Insights survey. It's been going on for 25 years, was under different names prior to the name Sapient. I think it was Cedar Crestone, maybe many people remember it as. And recently, over the last couple of years, they started to do these almost like the grids of the different vendors, and they break down the market into 6 categories. HR service delivery is one of those categories, and they also reach out to your customers and get feedback about you as a vendor, and ask them, what's it like working with that vendor Dovetail, and what's it like using their product. And so they have the vendor satisfaction, the user experience. So for us, this is the second year in the row that we've been placed at the top. We're a pretty small company, so pretty much everyone on here is at least 2, 3, 10 times bigger than Dovetail. So that's a proud achievement for us. Any questions, feel free to ask. I don't know if I've covered everything, but I maybe Brad, if there's anything else you'd want me to mention about the program, let me know. Oh, you're on mute.
No, I think that's perfect. Great insights to not only what you guys provide as a solution, but for folks that kind of see where that interoperability sits between the two solutions for our customers. So no, great. I think hopefully there's some good questions. Yeah,
excellent. Yeah, I guess one last thing I may mention is I think the key things with how to be successful partnering with Ceridian is obviously going to their events, trying to network as much as possible with as many of their organization as possible. So in working with Brad and his team, they're getting us through the process to network with some of the people, but it's also on our duty to also reach out and get our salespeople to reach out to their local counterparts work really well with them on any RFPs. I've always had this philosophy. I was on the customer side before, and I used to hate it when vendors would go out of their will. I want to see just your LMS, and then they start telling me about their HCM system. So we do the same thing here when we work with our partners. If Ceridian bring us in, we just focus on what they want us to show, not start showing all the other things that we have on offer. That's always been our philosophy. And then lastly is network with all the partners. When I was at the Insight show, I walked the floor and met pretty much every partner there, and have had some really good conversations since that show with some of those partners that we need to sort of network with now as a fairly new Ceridian partner. So I hope that helps.
No, it's great.
All right. I guess, Robert, you're up next. Are you comfortable sharing your screen, or do you want me to pull up your slide?
You know what, Brad? I'm gonna do my best here, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Let me know if you guys can see this all right.
Right on. Perfect.
Outstanding.
Okay, you guys can see, because I can't see it. I still see you, Brad, so I don't see the screen here. So, but we're good. I can talk. So, thanks so much. Great job, Brad. As always, great working with you here. Looking forward to what we've done. I should say what we've done and what we're doing in the future here. A lot of people are, as we found out at the Ceridian Insights Conference, they're still learning who we are and what we do. And I will tell you, Experian Employer Services has actually been around now for, it'll be a year here on April 1. But as it relates to the services, we've been around for many, many years. What was happening in the industry is Experian was a lot of clients and partners were reaching out to Experian saying, can you guys please get in the human capital management arena and help out with some, other options, other solutions, things like that you can bring to the table. So about 3 years ago, Experian started looking to acquire a number of industry leading organizations, corporate cost control, TCC, MTech, and CIC Plus. We brought those all together officially on April 1, like I talked about, to really manage the entire life cycle of the employee experience working with Ceridian through the Dayforce platform, and also the partners that are utilizing that platform. So for years we have been part of it. I'm going to get into WOTC a little bit more here than any of the other services today, but we've been working together with Ceridian for many, many years on WOTC, enhancing the application that goes with that and stuff. Recently here we are going to be launching some ERC programs, R&D tax credits, and verification fulfillment. This is just a teaser for that because it's coming down the road. We're still working on the the integrations that go there and everything else with Brad stuff, but WOTC's been in place, and a lot of people know work opportunity credits, what that is, what it means. But the bottom line is we have an integration with the Dayforce platform where you can get on there, a couple of clicks. It really takes about 90 seconds for an applicant to get out there, work through the process, complete turnkey solution, and then those credits then are put through on the federal income tax return for that employer. A lot of the integration highlights that go with that is a compliant, and I say compliant because there's a lot of companies out there that don't hit all the compliance. They don't check all the boxes. We do. It's a complete seamless process, and it's real time. Like I said, right now it takes you have to file within 28 days of hiring and everything. We completed right now tens of millions on an annual basis that are out there. It basically takes care of managing the 8850 form for those of you guys. I'm not going to get too far in the weeds, and the 9161 form, which is really the backside of the 8850 form. It gets that done, and the benefits of it. As we talk to that level, and I'm not just going to read from a slide here. We have about less than a 2% abandonment rate when someone starts through that process. So you can tell what we're doing there is really helping the employers get the credits that they should be getting, whether it be from a veteran or someone that's been unemployed for a while, or the different solutions, or I should say the different folks that qualify. We really help get to that point. It greatly reduces the risk. Like I said, it's completely compliant, and the big thing here, it takes that responsibility off the employer and off of those fields or hiring managers, especially if you're a very decentralized company that has a number of HR departments that really benefits you in that area. We can talk about the markets we serve, and it's basically you get into those verticals, the hospitality, retail, manufacturing, construction. And when I say that, that's not just for WASI, that's for all the services that we bring to the table, working with Brad and the Dayforce and Ceridian. So the niche for us is really when we get to that around that 1,500 employee mark. I know that, from talking with Brad and the different sales teams at Ceridian, they're really trying to leverage more into that enterprise and large enterprise space. But we can service anybody, whether it even be mid-market or the major accounts. We can help those employers save money and get the tax credits they deserve. The big thing is everybody right now is looking for benefits, looking for ways they can save money, looking for different advantages that they can bring to the table. And guys, every dollar counts out there right now, especially in the industry that we're in, and with like I said, the onboarding and the life cycle of that employer. So I want to keep it simple here. I'm not going to get into too much detail, Brad. I know we're going to have a roundtable discussion more, but if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to address those. If not, I'll pass it over, to Tyson, and we can go from there.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you for the overview.
All right.
Tyson, and then we can get into some questions. I know I'm trying to keep up folks on the chat, so thanks for submitting those, and we'll keep up with those, and hopefully after we're done, we can get some more time.
All right. Hopefully you're not seeing you're seeing the core visual, not like my slide deck.
Yeah,
perfect. All right.
Looks good.
So quick introduction on me. So I lead partnerships for Shiftboard. Been working with Brad and team since 2021, which began the whole integration process, and been with the company for about 7 years. Just to provide the context of who we are, that then tells the tale of how we started dating and how we ended up together. So Shiftboard is a standalone scheduling platform. We were purpose built in the manufacturing energy segments, which definitely makes us a little bit more unique. And part of our value proposition there. We are commonly getting plugged into any workforce management tool or HCM tool. It's just part of who we are, is just essentially a cog in the larger world. What we provide these manufacturing and energy customers is just like better transparency to all the workflow considerations, rule sets, deeper automation on any compliance based rules or any and all basically rules whatsoever. We have a really robust scheduling engine, and we're the only solution that has a continuous labor optimization tool for these verticals as well, which really drives home our core ROIs, which is kind of reduce time, reduce OT, lots of really fun ROIs that we throw at customers, which blow them away. So going back a couple of years, Dayforce was realizing, and I think this kind of starts to speak to what Brad was speaking on, which is they are very purposeful within their partnerships, but they saw a huge focus on and an increase in manufacturing-based customers. And so they realized too that, especially since their roots on their scheduling front is more of that retail hospitality world, that there was some gaps in addressing that manufacturing world, especially as you look at the enterprise market. So that was what spurred the initial reach out. Honestly, from Dayforce's perspective, from our perspective as an organization, we need to reduce the barriers to entry for our customers, where especially as a very high compliant, really robust scheduling tool, we need lots of data from these tools like Dayforce. So, building kind of and establishing a strong integration is a very strong story in our own approach. It's obviously something that Dayforce is inclined to do, so that kind of speaks to that whole one product, like again, reducing the barriers for the actual user experience. So it was really a great match for us working together. And then as we launched that integration, worked really closely with the partner program at Dayforce. Sam's my counterpart there, and she's wonderful. She's been plugging me into the sales teams, the SA teams, product teams as needed. Product teams kind of got brought in here and there to make sure that we were just designing the best integration approach. And overall, kind of mimicking, I think I forgot who had mentioned it earlier, but a lot of the I've seen a little bit of the evolution of the partnership program, and it's been great because they've been really putting good structure to it. Some of the templates that we've been having to fill out, and really just make it a lot easier in communicating to the customer of like what they're getting as part of the integration, which alleviates a lot of the questioning or maybe us missing something as we roll out our integration. So it's just been really wonderful working with the entire Dayforce team and just leveraging what we do differently and kind of spreading that word across Dayforce. That's resulted in a couple of really cool wins for Anheuser-Busch and Danone for us. So, just the beginning, but we're really excited about the partnership and the value that it's bringing to our shared customers. So I try to get mine a little bit faster to keep us on track, because I know we wanted to keep about 20 minutes for questions and answers. So any questions, I guess, for Shiftboard?
No, that's fantastic, Tyson. Hopefully folks see and kind of get some of the intent of the ecosystem, right? We heard from HR case management, Experian, where WOTC tax credits and other services, and complex shift scheduling from Shiftboard, right? So if you look at where we're going, we're always looking to add extensibility and add value deliver partners could be a core functional need that we're just not delivering today. We know that others can do it better, but our intent is to create a way to have a seamless interaction with that solution or an industry fit and need. We're all building software, but as we know, you can't do it for every industry. You can't be an expert in everything, right? There's ways to capitalize on what you deliver as a core and extend it for uniqueness of certain industries. And then one piece further is from a geo standpoint, right? So, but at the end of the day, the strong data intelligence, compliance, and the engine behind the scenes of the Dayforce platform is enabling these different partners from different solutions to extend that value to the customers, because that's what they want. That's where they work on a daily basis. That's what they do. If you go across our customer base, different groups, different divisions, different levels of the organization, their day looks different, right? Some are always in Dayforce, some are managing in Dayforce, but working in teams in Slack and asking for knowledge management through HR case management, submitting questions. They're doing different things. Our job is to be that strong foundation that makes their workday life better, so they can perform their tasks. And I think from each of these solutions, you're kind of saying, if you look at the rest of our ecosystem, why it's different and why we have so many different add-ons. So please, hopefully some questions out there for them, their experience or what they deliver as part of the ecosystem.
So, Brad, one thing I think we need to talk about a little bit is compliance, because we know the industry that we're in, we are constantly seeing legislation get involved, constantly seeing at the state level, the laws change, legislation change for what needs to take place. And in the audits now, is you're being audited on different things across the board, whether it be financial reporting, or just how you run your business with the SOC reporting and everything. It's becoming more and more prevalent in the industry. And it's important to make sure, and these partners, I can tell you, knowing the group here, we're all staying on top of what needs to be in place and staying compliant. But that's an important part of today and what's going on with everything. And also as we build things out for the future with enhancements and, the integrations that go with that. So I just wanted to bring that up to make sure that everybody is aware of the importance of that, and that the group here, we're staying on top of that and doing what's necessary to be, raising that bar in the industry and making sure we meet the compliance standards.
I see there's, sorry to jump in on I see that one of the questions came in. Michael Grimm was asking about the average size of Dayforce customers is like from an employee headcount, just so he has a perspective what market you typically serve, I guess, is the question.
I don't have an average, but what I can tell you is from a segment standpoint, and the partners know this quite well, is that we have our emerging level, SMB emerging level of our segments, sub 700 or so employees. Then we get into our majors, our mid-market majors, up to 3,500 or so. And then over that, we're getting into large enterprise. Our large enterprise, obviously, we're 10,000 employees. So we're structured that way. What doesn't matter is the Dayforce platform. But partners and customers are using the same Dayforce platform. It's just what they're using on the platform and what they're integrating to. And then so you start to go across the different segments. You'll see that there's maybe some that are integrating with other ERPs as a foundation, because they have to. Large enterprise customers have multiple platform systems in place. So that interoperability is important. So you'll see partnerships that we have with other core platforms. When you go below that, of course, we've got full Dayforce, in large enterprise, and the majors and below, but they have unique things they need, extensions on top of those. So there isn't a sweet spot, I'd say, that you're going to go after. It's really is what customers are going to see value in us together to start looking at. And no matter what customer that we see as our average, your customer average with Dayforce will look very different than another partner. And it's important to keep that in mind, right? And that's where you're going to establish value and really establish a connection in the ecosystem. Is what is your sweet spot and where are you delivering value? Because at the end of the day, you heard Kane talk about it, and Robert and Tyson as well. The templates and the opportunities of connecting to our sales organization and our partner ecosystem is there, but you've got to populate it, right? The partnership has to populate that information. Why and who can gain the most value from your solution in our ecosystem? So I would kind of flip the question a little differently and have you do that evaluation of where you're seeing adoption of Dayforce customers. That starts to begin to pull out your sweet spot. That's a story you can tell.
That's great. Thank you for that. Another question I see Thomas asked about early stage startups, working with Ceridian Dayforce. Is that a fit, or maybe they need to be a certain size, or is it come back to the customer again? Like, even if they have one customer, if it's a fit, maybe they can still, at least integrate, maybe if not become a full partner.
Yeah, and there's, we want to create that opportunity for even the smallest of companies to gain experience, right? And if you look at the Dayforce Developer Network, as we talked about, it's free to sign up for. It's a great repository of our API library, all the structures, all the information to understand the Dayforce platform and integrating to that. It's important to build that knowledge because there is some work and effort that comes with it, right? Is where do you start to see adoption of the customers? We're very proactive from a product strategy and a sales alignment perspective to understand what our customers and what we see as priority and great additions to the ecosystem. But obviously, none of us can keep up with everything out there. There's a lot of changes and a lot of new companies coming up every single day. The question is, what is that value? What are customers saying is the value? And it goes beyond just, hey, can you integrate to Dayforce, right? There's a valid answer to, can you integrate to Dayforce? And then there's just, I need to. And that has different needs. Could have needs for some and great access and great value to some. But maybe that's just a one-off and we don't know. 2 data points don't make a trend, they make a line. So what we're trying to figure out is what is the trend of value of the partnership and where are we going? Because that's what's going to help us succeed together. And that's really what we want to get that sort of data moving under us collectively before we jump into, I think Tyson was talking about before we, start dating and understanding each other before we, we get hitched. Because as you all know, once you get hitched, it changes dynamic, it changes in, really the actions and measures. And you want to make sure that it's the right fit for everybody.
Sounds good. I think I see a hand waving in the camera there, Larry. You have a question?
Yeah, Brad. It's always interesting in these panels to speak to the trend. I mean, you talked about patterns. Are there particular things that your group is looking for in North America as far as vendors to be a bigger part of your ecosystem? Is there a particular category?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. If we look at North America for us, US and Canada, I mean, what we're starting to see is really, if you look at from the core talent, HR talent platform, for example, on that side of the business, how are people changing the way their employees work day to day, right? It might be from onboarding. It might be from speeding along the hiring process. There's things that we do in our talent suite and continue to build and grow, but oftentimes There are unique industry needs from a training perspective, for example, that needs to be there in a particular industry. It's beyond a learning platform, for example. It's a really in the Dayforce app or in the Dayforce day of a life of onboarding an employee. I need to show them 15 videos in the next 5 days to get them trained so they can start the following Monday and be efficient at this job. So what is that day in the life of managing talent and growing your talent pool, both from a pipeline, but also efficiency of bringing them in as employees? So there's always great technology and great solutions out there that help do that. That's of interest to understand. And what are customers saying? We need this solution because this is what we do. So we see those sort of things happening. On the WFM side, our pay and time side, you heard Tyson from the complexities of a manufacturing side. So we're seeing expansion and growth from Dayforce as a platform in new industries. And we continue to lead with our strong platform for workforce management. But there's nuances and things in the industry that customers want that we have to provide as an ecosystem need for them, right? They love the core, they love everything they can do, but they've got nuances to their business. And that's really where it comes down to over the competition. How locked in are you? Do you give me an ecosystem of choice where I can actually go beyond and still use your great data and compliance and core engine to do what I need to do, but also I just have some uniqueness? Those tend to be some of the trends we start to see people asking about and kind of moving as they're moving off of one platform to another, but also as we're going up into large enterprise accounts. So you just get into some of the uniqueness that needs to be there. And that's important. So we start to look for those things as well.
Yeah, well said. And just bringing these three partners together typifies that exact thing, right? Because they're filling the extension of the core platform for those specialized needs that the customer has. And that's an amazing way to do it for them.
And it's not an obvious thing, right? I mean, what I think everybody on here from a partner ecosystem perspective, it's just part of our DNA. It's a natural talk track for us to have to demonstrate that. Put yourself in the sales folks' shoes. I mean, this is the important thing about partnering, right? What do partnerships sometimes create for sales organizations? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Now, that's helpful to position against competition, but you also have to understand your own sales organization has the same thing. And it's important to build an ecosystem of strength and that interoperability to say this and get started early. This is the value we bring together. This is the strength in positioning it. Do not allow yourself to get boxed out of positioning strength in an ecosystem, whether it's a Ceridian ecosystem or one of the other ecosystems you're going to hear from. That's extremely important from a partnership perspective because that's the group you're dealing with on a daily basis. It's that entire field organization that needs to understand what and why and how you're going to actually help them build and grow their pipeline and drive customer success versus delay them, slow things down, or create a pause that's going to maybe disrupt their cycle. Those are really nuances that I don't know if we talk about enough from a partnership alliances perspective, but I know you all deal with it and it's important. And that's really the core audience to get that track and that visibility going early and getting that interaction going early. As we talk about our engage and activate in our program, we try to do that early on because what we don't want is to have someone in our sales organization or an opportunity not be aware of the great value that we can double down on with this partnership if we get talking and delivering that message early against the competition. So just, a way to think about, to your point, Larry, what are we always thinking about? But at the end of the day, we can talk about that of value of the partnership, but it has to trigger all the way back into our core field organization to be on the same message.
And I think what Ward mentioned about the three groups that you brought together, Robert with the WOTC and the risk abatement elements and the data, democratization of data as we fight against that evil empire in Atlanta, Equifax. Together, we'll fight against them. And then, of course, with Dovetail.
I didn't have them on the call, I guess.
Well, everybody knows my feelings. So, yes, there's all of you on here. the importance is the democratization of data. There's a certain element with partnerships that we care about the data that was been entrusted to us, and I see that with the people provisioning aspect of the three guests that you brought with you. The element against for risk abatement, of course, with Shiftboard. If you don't have the right person on the bus in the right seat, then you've got a problem. And of course, with Dovetail, it's good to hear that story and how it's moved more into that arena of people provisioning. I mean, when people have a need, you have a systematic way of achieving it. So thank you, guys.
Yeah, and I think to your point exactly, Larry, that's important to us. Our API library, our API platform continues to evolve and grow. And why do we do that? Why do we invest that time in that platform? Is exactly for that tighter security, tighter data privacy. We are entrusted by our customers as stewards of their data, and we are not going to waver, and we are not going to kind of leave any stone unturned to continue to evolve that. You heard it, if you look at Ceridian.com, if you hear any of our leaders talk on the call, compliance is #1 for us, the largest and best global payroll provider. If we don't have compliance first, the rest doesn't matter, because we have to pay people where they work all the time. Now, extending that to the ecosystem, like you said, that's why we focus on these integrations as part of every one of our partners. And we talked about it, and it is a pillar of the ecosystem. Is we're going to partner. Before we do, we vet the use case, we vet the integration, and we vet the fact that there is going to be a way for the systems to work together through APIs. We understand there's other ways of doing integrations. That's not a risk that we're willing to sign up or put on paper with a partnership and extend that to a customer and not know that from a data privacy and compliance standpoint, that the integration has the same extended value coverage that we do from our core products. That's a great point.
Yeah, let me interject one thing, because we're about to transition here, and I'll let Ezra take over in a minute. But you got a question asked about working with system integrators, and there's going to be some that you work with closely tomorrow in the opening expert panel, which is all about a chance to meet the system integrators. So if you want to connect and hear about how that's done, especially if you haven't integrated with Ceridian or others before, there'll be some amazing providers tomorrow and some experts that know the space. Yeah. And get answers, from the community that you're already collaborating with, Brad and team.
Perfect.
And I think that there was a couple other questions, but we might have to take those offline. Any kind of final wrap-ups, Brad, from you or your team there?
I really thank the partners for being the great partners that they are, and great supporters, leaders in their own industry and in their own businesses. So I hope you have some peers to connect with. The rest of you listening in, I certainly appreciate that, and hope we make some connections here. And we're always happy to get new introductions and understand how we can better serve customers together. So it's a great opportunity to do that. Ward and Larry and Ezra, thanks for thinking of us as always.